Welcome, everyone. My name is Naomi J. Falk, and I am an assistant professor in the School of Visual Art and Design. I teach 3D studies there. So welcome to the College of Arts and Sciences 4th Annual Gamecock Teaching Days. This year, we're showcasing some more of the best online teaching we have here in the College of Arts and Sciences. So we're pleased you can join us for today's session. Now I'd like to introduce you to Pat Gehrke, who is a professor in the Department of English Language and Literature. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Naomi, and good morning to everyone. Many of us are faced with a significant challenge when asked to develop or teach an online course. Very few of us had training in online course pedagogy, and many have had a little experience in developing or implementing courses optimized for online learning. And that was certainly the position I found myself in 2016 when I stepped up to create our online public speaking course. But what I found, partially through trial and error, but largely by diving into the literature on online learning and the needs of students who select online courses, was that asynchronous project-based learning offers a powerful model for improving student learning and prime opportunities for creating asynchronous online courses that are both engaging for students and manageable for faculty. And in this presentation, I'm going to provide an introduction to project-based learning, an example of its application in asynchronous online course design, and some strategies for helping students and faculty manage the challenges and workload that can come with project-based online courses. Project-based learning uses carefully designed projects to provide learning experiences grounded in real-world activities, challenges, and contexts. Students are usually given instruction in techniques or tools that they might use to complete a project, but not a strict series of steps that they must follow. Instead, project-based learning encourages the use of critical and independent thinking to complete projects in ways best suited to the student's own strengths and background. And this makes it especially valuable for teaching skills and practices that require adaptation to a situation, interpretation of context, creativity, nonlinear problem solving, or lateral thinking. Of course, public speaking is a great example of those kinds of skills, as is writing, but you might also imagine examples in sociology, computer science, anthropology, biology, dance, or pretty much any field. Now, some of the benefits of project-based learning include a greater personal investment from the students who see the project as more useful or valuable due to the real-world framing. An increased capacity for students to bring their own strengths, cognitive styles, and experiences to their learning, which improves their engagement with the course and their retention of skills. Also, greater generalizability or transportability of skills across contexts due to the engagement with situational and contextual elements in their projects. And additional opportunities for student interaction, communication, or teamwork to achieve those benefits. Now, there are certain best practices for project-based learning, and these best practices are grounded in both empirical and practical experience of teachers across the disciplines. So first, we want to organize projects around specific challenges or questions that can be met in multiple ways. And second, we try to derive those questions and challenges from the course's terminal learning outcomes, guaranteeing alignment between the projects and the goals of the course. We then want to provide scaffolding to move students from first day to readiness through each stage or aspect of a project. And this may involve sub-projects, preparatory projects, or even a series of projects. We also try to help students see the value of those projects for both the learning objectives of the course and, even more important, their practical applications. And this then gives us an opportunity to just provide enough guidance to help students complete the projects, but also enough freedom to let them deploy their own strengths and engage in creative problem solving. Ideally, we also want to encourage peer support and collaboration. Different students come with different competencies and strengths, of course, and peers can give advice, feedback, and insight in addition to what the faculty member provides. And finally, each project should result in the creation of an artifact, some equivalent to a real-world project outcome. Now, that could be a video, a report, a model, a website, a business plan, draft legislation, essentially anything that resembles a real-world output in response to the project's challenge or question. Oh, and there is just one more thing, and maybe the most important. We try to make sure we provide individual feedback, not only to each project, but to sub-projects or preparatory projects. The faculty member can then use those to coach, advise, and evaluate student work on the projects to help them see ways to improve and to ensure they're addressing project challenges or questions. Now, of course, all of these guidelines and best practices have to be adapted to the course at hand and its learning objectives. And, in actual classroom practice, we often find that approaches like project-based learning have to mutate or adapt a bit to fit the outcomes and particulars of a specific course. And that was certainly the case with our online public speaking course, Speech 145. I developed Speech 145 as a new course in 2016 to meet a very specific need at our university, the need for an asynchronous online course that could meet the spoken communication general education requirement and could be taught in a 7-week session. In developing the course, the College of Arts and Sciences also asked that I build in the learning outcomes for the information literacy requirement. So I began with essentially 4 mandates for the course. It had to meet the learning outcomes for spoken communication. It had to meet the learning outcomes for information literacy. It had to have 100% online delivery, and it had to follow a 100% asynchronous format. Now, in addition to these, which were really the mandates, it also had to be achievable in 7 weeks, since all our online courses were at that time all following that schedule. And it needed to be accessible to students with a wide range of technical abilities and technological resources. The result was a course that uses project-based learning to teach core communication competencies by teaching students how to speak effectively in podcasts, advocacy videos, and live webinars. I taught the course for the first time in spring of 2017 to just 48 students. And over the past 5 years, I've trained and provided support for now 20 faculty at USC Columbia and other campuses. The course has grown from serving just 48 students that first semester to now over 550 a semester, and is now the most in-demand course of all the classes offered by our program. The success of the course, I believe, is due in large part to its use of the project-based learning model I described, and in particular, a focus on student projects that not only achieve the course learning outcomes, but also engage the students in practices they see as interesting, relevant, and valuable. Students complete 3 major projects in the course, and each includes a smaller preparatory project. They do a podcast, an advocacy video, and a live policy presentation. Each project follows the same overall format. They start by watching video lectures that give them the key principles and skills, including demonstration, which is followed by a low-stakes quiz that's really just designed to foster their engagement with those course materials. Next, they complete a short preparation project that familiarizes them with the technology and the basic techniques that they need to complete the major assignment. Then they share guided feedback with their peers on those preparation projects. Each student receives detailed feedback on their preparation project from fellow students. They're clustered into cohorts of 6 that they work with for the whole semester, and also from the instructor. Then students reflect on that feedback and plan, record, and edit their full project. In one case, a podcast, in another, an advocacy video, and in the final, a live video presentation with Q&A. Finally, students receive detailed feedback and suggestions on that major project recording, which coaches them on how to improve for the next project. Again, that feedback comes from both peers and the instructor. Each project is paired with specific learning outcomes, and each project builds on the next. The students start by learning vocal performance, audio recording, and editing with a podcast. Then they carry those skills through and add to them the vocal and audio skills. They add physical performance, video recording, and editing in an advocacy project, in an advocacy video project. And finally, they take their audio and video skills, their advocacy skills, and they add live performance and audience interaction in a live policy presentation they do over Zoom that includes a question and answer and discussion period. Now, this is a lot of work, especially in a 7-week format. So I found it essential to develop systems that both helped students stay on track and empowered faculty to provide quality feedback without sacrificing their entire professional and personal lives to the course. We all have other things we need to do and get done than just constantly running a course like this. So course management for both the students and the faculty is key, I think, to making this kind of intensive project-based asynchronous learning work in an online format. And that begins with, of course, a great deal of clarity about deadlines and planning. For students, we begin communicating with them a week before the first day of classes and then keep them updated regularly from the day before class begins through the day final grades are submitted to the registrar. That includes emails at the beginning of each new unit with overviews of the unit work and deadlines, as well as faculty video with advice for staying on track and successfully completing that unit's work. Then for every due date, whether it be a project, a quiz, a sub-project, or peer feedback, students receive an email reminder the day before it's due and the morning of the day it's due. Some faculty, like me, we use scheduling tools like those built into Outlook or other email list services that automate these emails. And many of us have templates for these emails, which is what you see here, that we reuse every semester with minor modifications to cut down on the amount of time spent composing them. In addition, we also try to set deadlines for projects at the same day and time each week to provide predictability and consistency for the students and faculty. I set major due dates for projects for a day and time when I know I can be available to answer student emails within an hour or two throughout the day, and that I can check on missing student submissions immediately at the deadline. So you can see here the tasks and deadlines for both students and for myself for the sections I taught in the first half of fall 2021. Every planned mass email is scheduled, and I assigned each template a number so that I can easily find it and know the order and date to send them or to schedule them to be sent. Now, originally, I sent them all manually each morning, but I now schedule all of the standard reminder emails at the beginning of the term to be sent automatically on their appropriate dates. Editing and scheduling the 40-some emails in an email management system like this takes me about a full day or a day and a half of work, but then I can do that when things are quiet before the semester started, and then not have to manage any of the emails while class is in session and everything crazy is going on at the university during the term. All I have to do is update the student list in the email management system during the very short add drop period for a 7-week course. And this course prep and all the rest of the course prep is now down to really just a couple of days of building out this material and updating due dates and a Blackboard package each term. I have a complete Blackboard package that I can easily import that includes everything for the course that is not semester specific. That includes quizzes, gradebook, discussion forums with standard starter posts, and all the assignment information. A simple package import in Blackboard, followed by 1 day of customization for the specifics of that semester, and pretty much the course is ready to go. And since that package has already been reviewed, both for accessibility and conformity to the quality assurance standards, I know it always meets university policies and expectations. That then frees me up to focus on providing feedback and evaluation on student projects. Since they have either a preparation project or a major project due every week, and each project relies on feedback from the previous project, I need to complete the grading of each project in no more than 72 hours. And so I usually set the deadlines on Thursdays in the early evening, and then return them by midday on Sundays. With 48 students, if I was to spend 20 minutes on each student project, that would be 16 hours of grading over those 3 days, or a little more than 5 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I've managed to cut that down significantly by using semi-automated rubrics that I built out using Excel and Visual Basic. These rubrics are customizable and flexible, and they provide a series of default scores and comments for the most common advice I give to students on their projects. And now these did take, I have to say, a fair deal of time to program, but over the 3 years I've been using them, I am sure I've made back that time 4 or 5 times over. Integrating these kinds of rubrics with Blackboard makes for quick, efficient, and easy grading because the students, they're receiving detailed advice on specific rubric elements that I can use the automated comments to submit. And then I have a set that I focus my time on the writing of the final overall comments. And so I really set my mind to that I'm going to spend most of my time on the major overall comments at the end that give them suggestion for improvement and practices that can help them lead up to their next project. And since all the student projects are turned in as Word documents in Blackboard with links in those Word documents out to their recordings, I can review them right inside Blackboard in the needs grading section with my Excel rubric open in a side-by-side window, and then provide the student feedback and response quickly and efficiently while also giving them an individual high-touch experience. And all of this then became the foundation for a complete course in a box that we've used to train and as a starter package for other faculty in our program who teach the class. I've trained now over 20 faculty at USC to teach the course using this model and provide them with my Excel rubrics, materials, and even a default Blackboard package. I also built out an instructor Blackboard group that provides additional resources and tutorials for faculty, including video walkthroughs of everything from how to assign the textbook in our bookstore system to how to use Blackboard and the rubrics to grade efficiently. And by expanding the course to additional faculty, and then ensuring the course materials are evergreen, they're able to be reused each semester, what would have been really, I think, an absurd amount of prep for one semester of one class became an incredibly efficient way to ensure high quality, project-based, asynchronous online learning for thousands now of our students. All of this is replicable in a wide variety of subjects and disciplines under a project-based learning model. And students get an intimate and personal learning experience, even with so much of the course being standardized and automated. So let me just share a few of the student comments from, and these are just from my most recent section that I taught. Regardless of the asynchronous format, I felt like I learned a lot from this class, especially from the assignments where they tested our skills and knowledge of public speaking. I like how this course is not a normal course. I don't know what that means, but a normal course where you learn a bunch of different information and take a test. You get to take the material that is learned and apply it to projects like conducting interviews and doing a live discussion in front of people. Even with the asynchronous format of this course, the instructor regularly sent emails, reminders, and communicated with the class to make sure that we were on track, understood the material and assignments, and always made sure to give us tips and feedback on how we can improve in the future, whether improving in the next major assignment or just improving our public speaking in general as a skill. It was obvious that he cared about his students and got to know us through our skills and performance on the assignments throughout the course. Now, that's really just a very small sample of student feedback and just from one semester. And other faculty who are teaching the course are getting similar kinds of feedback. And this is all in an asynchronous online 7-week general education course. And the quantitative scores for faculty teaching the course in this model have also been unusually high. And I attribute a great deal of that success to the implementation of project-based learning. Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors that affect student learning, and every faculty member has to decide the pedagogy and structure appropriate to their own strengths and their course learning outcomes. But my personal experience has shown me, at least, that for asynchronous online courses, project-based learning can be a highly effective and engaging way to teach students skills and to help them see the practical benefits of course content. And I think that in most of our disciplines, some kind of project-based learning has been implemented, even if not in an asynchronous online format. So if you're thinking about how to apply this in a different discipline or even just in a different course, I'd encourage you to start by looking for project-based learning syllabi or suggestions in your discipline writ large, or for that course in other syllabi, and then think about how they can be deployed or implemented in asynchronous online formats.